Good afternoon. It is now 12 o'clock on this summer Friday, and the weather really is heating up today. We want to make sure you keep that in mind if you happen to be heading out to the Indiana State Fair. That's where Emily Longnecker is right now. She's live at the fairgrounds, and also she's catching up with a guest, our governor, Emily.
Yeah. And we're in the swine barn here, Governor Braun and I, and also the president of the Indiana Farm Bureau, Randy Crone. Governor, you just had a tour of the Taste of Indiana, all the things that you can find on Indiana farms that are good to eat. This is your first fair as governor. What's your favorite here?
Well, I did it as a senator, so I know what I was getting in for. So I had to have 3 cups of chocolate milk made from some of our dairy farms. That was tough to do.
Of course.
And then you're going to see all kinds of stuff from apple products. There was some, what would we call it? Carrots, real carrots. And then we had some sheep, kind of like bologna or something, or really good.
Randy, let me ask you, if I'm a visitor coming here for the first time, what shouldn't I miss in this Taste of Indiana, and even in the swine barn? There's a lot of sights and sounds and smells.
I would suggest to come to the Farm Bureau building here for today through Sunday, 11 to 6, we'll have the Taste from Indiana Farms. And it lets consumers learn just a little bit about agriculture. Like there's 60,000 tanker loads of milk produced in Indiana every year. There's 4,000 acres of apples. We're number 1 or 2 depending on the year in popcorn. So you can learn about agriculture and where your food comes from.
Governor, were you learning some of those stats today, or this stuff you already knew?
I got a little bag of popcorn, and now that he mentions it. So since I live on a farm and have been really associated with the farming community, I see new things every time I come. And it's amazing in markets that are as tough as farming markets are. You got to be resourceful on finding new ways to sell your product, and this is going to be where it's showcased. So
listen, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you another new topic that's kind of come up recently. The vice president was in town.
Yep.
You said you talked about redistricting. What are your plans or thoughts on redistricting here in Indiana?
So he wanted to discuss that with me, the Speaker of the House, and the President of the Senate, pro tem, and we had a good conversation. So you can see that's happening around the country. The discussion's been out there up front and on a large scale in Texas. So I think for us, we want to make sure it makes sense and our legislature is bought into it. So
I mean, earlier this week you said you'd made no commitments around it. Has that changed?
We really didn't, because we think it's important to get out there and discuss it with the legislators, and that's what the Speaker and the President of the Senate's going to do, and we'll do that over the next few weeks. And they're okay with that because they want to make sure that if there are questions, they can answer them, and that it's going to get broad-based support.
So you're saying at this point nothing is set in stone? Not
at this point.
So former Governor Mitch Daniels, I don't know, he wrote an op-ed in Politico. I don't know if you saw it.
I heard what he said, and I think generally the thing I pointed out in the since the other side of the aisle is making a big issue of it, they have gerrymandered their states so much that they can't do it anymore, and that's why they're upset. Yes, this is not in the normal context of doing it right after a census, but then it does put you behind when they've done it, so it's a little hypocritical to come out like that. So Mitch's point, I think, is that he thinks, well, you do that, it'll just be a pushback where you're not really gaining any ground. That'd be different, and I disagree with him, because I think the other side of the aisle has done it in a more calculated way over time.
But not just Democrats. I mean, we've talked to some voters who are concerned that their voices could be silenced at the ballot box if this redistricting happens.
And then it could make more districts competitive to where they've got a chance to maybe be competitive in them. So there are pros and cons to everything. I'm going to be mostly interested to see if there's broad-based support among our own legislature, and then go from there.
Why is this topic even coming up, though? I mean, we've got a lot of things that Hoosiers are concerned about, the economy, Medicaid.
That doesn't mean not all those aren't getting attended to as well. This is on the political side of the ledger. That comes up both sides of the aisle off and on, and this just happens to be the one we're dealing with now.
Even though the Constitution says, what, every 10 years, though, after the census, so I think people...
But it doesn't say you can only do that, and if the other side has done it in a way that's been more intensive, that is what is probably motivating especially in Texas, which is the biggest conservative state, to take a look at it.
I guess some people, though, have been saying to us, why now? We already have 7 Republican congressional seats. You want another one?
Those are all valid pros and cons to it. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Governor Braun, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Krohn, thank you so much. Happy fair, happy swine barn. So again, Governor Braun talking about his tour on the Taste of Indiana, all of the things that you can see here at the Indiana State Fair, and also checking in with us about the question of redistricting. The governor said at this point no commitments have been made. And we're going to send it back to you.
All right, Emily Longnecker reporting live for us today. Thank you so much. Now, Emily also got a chance to talk with Hoosier Democrats following that visit from Vice President J.D. Vance here to Indianapolis yesterday. They're calling this focus on redistricting before the midterms a power grab. Republicans, though, have not said, as you heard there from the governor just live in that interview, that redrawing the lines is happening. But as we've mentioned, it was a topic of discussion with the vice president. Democrats, however, they say, you know what? It's all but a done deal.
He's here to rig Indiana. Not because the people asked for it, not because it reflects our values, but because they are terrified of something bigger than themselves. You, the voters.
Congressional maps are typically redrawn after a census, as Emily was talking to the governor about there, and that's every 10 years. And here's a map of how Indiana looks right now. There are 9 districts. 7 here in red are held by the GOP, and there are 2 that are in blue that are held by the Democrats. Indianapolis, as you can see there in Marion County, is in blue. Let's get over to Sean for the very latest on what we can expect in the weather. I bet it was hot in that barn, Sean.
Yeah, I think so. You know what? If you've got a friend who's got a lake house, boat, swimming pool, you can search through your phone there, dial up that number, because this weekend, this is where you're going to want to be here. It is going to be hot, going to be humid. Is it going to be the hottest and most humid we've had all summer? Probably not, but it is going to be uncomfortable at times during those peak heating hours. Please take it easy if you're going to be outdoors. Maybe limit that outdoor time during the peak heat. We're at 84. Again, this is typical summer heat for us. About a degree or 2 warmer than yesterday when we hit 89. Dew point temperatures flirting with and above 70. So the heat index is already over 90 degrees in some locations, and it's going to stay there for this afternoon. We'll have to let you know how long this heat wave will last in your forecast.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah. Right now at noon, there is a statewide silver alert underway. It's for a 19-year-old woman and 2 people who may be involved in her disappearance. Metro Police believe she could be in immediate danger. Officers believe that Destiny Williams' ex-boyfriend, Sion Wheeler, entered her home on the east side with a gun and then forced her to leave with him this morning. It all happened near South Franklin Road and English Ave. Investigators don't know if they left on foot or if they left in a car. They also are looking for a possible second suspect. They're asking anyone who has information or maybe even security video or someone maybe who is in the area and saw something to please call them with tips. You can also call the number 317-262-TIPS. That's the number for Crime Stoppers. We have put that information with this story if you head to our website right now at WTHR.com. Let's get Destiny Williams home safely. New this afternoon, a Marion County judge set the trial date for a man charged with trying to kidnap a teen mom and her young son. The 56-year-old suspect made his first appearance in court this morning. Metro Police tell us that the man was working as a rideshare driver when he picked up an 18-year-old mom and her infant from their home on Tuesday. The woman then told police that the driver, Frankie Layens, canceled the ride and started driving in the wrong direction. Eventually, the woman escaped the car, and she did so with her child. He now is charged with 3 counts of attempted kidnapping. His jury trial is now set for October 16th. And now to that nationwide debate over immigration law, raising one question. Should undocumented immigrants be entitled to due process when they're taken into custody? That is a key question that really is gaining traction here in Indiana, not just because of the planned ICE detention centers, but also because of comments that are coming from our Lieutenant Governor, Micah Beckwith. Our Alex Almanza talked with an immigration attorney who says that Beckwith's remarks just don't raise eyebrows. They they raise legal red flags.
On Monday, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith hosting another one of his signature town halls, this time in Vigo County, where comments about the rights of undocumented immigrants came under fire.
They don't have a right to see a judge.
Right.
They came here illegally.
Those comments made by Beckwith echo a larger sentiment from lawmakers on Capitol Hill: expedited removal and minimal judicial oversight for undocumented immigrants. It's a rhetoric that Rachel Van Tile with Exodus Refugee Immigration says is unconstitutional.
You know, the 1951 Refugee Convention and the 1967 Protection of Refugees, they both require us to provide people with an opportunity to present their case.
While undocumented immigrants don't have a right to stay in the U.S., the Constitution does guarantee them due process, meaning they're entitled to a hearing, the chance to present evidence, and the right to hire a lawyer, even if one isn't provided for them.
I'm going to tell you what I believe, why I believe it, and if you don't like the answer, I heard you, I just maybe don't agree with you. And so, and that's okay. We live in a country where it's okay to have civil disagreements.
Beckwith's remarks also drawing attention for a historical comparison.
I kind of wanted you to kind of listen to how Beckwith compares this to some historical events.
When the Japanese were bombing Pearl Harbor, did we give them due process to actually see a judge?
No, we put them in concentration camps.
They invaded our country.
I hear the counter to that, and she's absolutely right. No, we didn't provide the Japanese due process. We put people in internment camps and we rounded them up, and it is a stain on American history that we did that.
Now Van Tile says she's calling on Beckwith to retract his statements and for the governor to condemn the rhetoric.
These people are trying to do it the right way. They're showing up to their court hearings, they're showing up to their interviews, and you're arresting them there. You're not going after the people that are truly criminals.
Now, 13 News has reached out multiple times to both Beckwith and Governor Braun's office about those comments specifically, but neither responded to our requests for comment. In Indianapolis, Alex Almanza, 13 News.